Hello YouTube, this is the high definition review of Laserdisc. This is kind of a format I don't think a lot of people know about. Now, before I get into the review, one thing I want to mention, there's been a lot of comments about some of the ways I've been doing some of these reviews. Well, any of them that are like this usually means I don't have it. I don't have Laserdisc. Matter of fact, most people don't have Laserdisc because of the issue they have with the Laserdisc themselves, which I'll get into that. But there's some of my reviews. There's a few of them like it. Obviously, like with the 3DS, alright, that's a preview, and I don't have that. Same thing with the PSP2. Alright, it's not even on the market yet. I mean, they're not even in Japan. So there's no way for me to get one yet. But anyway, this is the review of the Laserdisc. This was an optical based system. It's kind of like DVD, except a whole lot bigger. The Laserdisc was approximately the same size as a record. Now, if you notice in this picture, you'll see this is the player. It's the front of it, and it has basically the same buttons. It's more or less like a VCR. It don't have clock display or no fancy stuff like that in it. Has a few ports on the front, power buttons down here, and then just like on a DVD player or even a Blu-ray player, it talks about the different formats that it handles. Which basically it handles Laserdisc and Laserdisc only because like I said, they're so big basically. Now this is the Pioneer, which was Pioneer was real big with the Laserdisc. That was pretty much their deal. Now, if you notice on the back, you have it does have a video. It does actually have what they call it, composite jacks. You have video, and then you have over here you have left and right audio out, and then there's also a mono audio out. So if you didn't want to use these, you could actually just use these two over here. And then there's also an interface connector, which is a little bit different because really nothing today has that. But that's kind of like almost like a software, deal. You can put software. You can upgrade the software within the unit, kind of. I don't think they offered that back then, but they did offer some other things, like you might be able to hook it up to another device that way. It can be used for communication between devices. And then there's a function switch which basically changes the different functions within the interface connector. They kind of work together. Now, if you notice, they don't have a channel input because there's no coaxial. Well, just like when DVD came out, there was no coaxial, which is basically the same thing today. They're kind of done away with that. They didn't back then. It's just some things didn't have it. Now, this themselves, like I said, they're about the same size as a record, and you just notice how big they really are. Another thing about it, because they're so big, they're susceptible to scratches and stuff like that. And like as for today, it's very hard to find one that actually works because of a very known issue, a very well-known issue. What it is, it's a chemical reaction inside the disc that fogs up the entire disc, fogs up one layer of the disc, and what happens is it gets it to the point where the player cannot read it no more. It's actually, surprisingly enough, it's really not all that hard to find a Laserdisc player that works because most of the players didn't have a problem. What had the problem was the disc. Before you could even wear a reader out, the disc went bad on you, which is something you don't even see today because that problem was corrected years ago. The discs don't have that. It's kind of interesting exactly this issue that they had because it's kind of like the windows on a house or whatever. But your windows are more than one layer. Well, just like on a disc, you have more than one layer. Okay, you might have, you could get like moisture in between the two planes of glass, and then that moisture gets stuck in there. Well, just like on a disc, basically you get the same thing, except rather than having actual like moisture drops, you get a fog, and that's due to due to the material used, maybe due to what they use to seal up the disc, seal the layers together, that kind of thing. So it's hard telling exactly what did it, but this is Laserdisc. I don't know the exact measurements of the disc, but this is the player. There's not much to a Laserdisc. They are big. Like I said, the players are even big. Heck, they couldn't even shrink the players down because, if you notice, you can kind of see on the top just how big it is, and it's about as small as they can get one. So I'm not going to go into really any more further detail on a Laserdisc because there's not, like I said, there's really not anything else to go into. They only lasted a few years, I think. Well, maybe 5 years, 6 years, something like that. It was even that long. And this problem that arose with them wasn't just like in the U.S. or anywhere. This was all over. This happened. But this is, like I said, this was a known problem with them discs. And so, if you do have one that works, make sure you treasure it because it is rare. It's rarer than Betamax. It's rarer than projector movies. Because they're so hard to find a disc that works. Anyway, this concludes the review of the Laserdisc.